It's time to talk about the Brilliant Smart Home System. These are light switches like you've never seen before. With the swipe of a finger, I can simply turn on the lights, or with 2 fingers, I can turn on the lights in an entire room. Now, this is something I'm really excited to talk about, and there's a lot to go into, so let's get right into it. Now, first off, let's talk about the Brilliant Smart Home ecosystem. So they have a few different products that you can integrate into your current smart home that you have, or you can kind of adapt your smart home to them to make all your smart home products work with them. So first, let's start by talking about the different products that are available from Brilliant. So if you don't want to have light switches like this, they do offer smart switch dimmers. So these are dimmable light switches that actually have a built-in motion sensor, and these can be set up on a single pole, a 3-way, or a multi-switch locations. They also have a smart plug that you can integrate into your system. Now next we have the 1-switch panel. Huge shout out to Brilliant for sending over the 1-switch and 2-switch panels for today's video, but this panel starts at $400 and it allows you to control 1 switch or even a room or a series of devices or any device that connects to your Brilliant smart home, and we'll get more into what devices are supported. But then you also have the 2-switch panel. So with the 2-switch panel, you can then control devices right on the side of the screen as well as using the screen. 3-switch panel would be for 3 different switches you have in a room, and the 4-switch panel for 4 different switches. Now these also come in all kinds of different colors depending on however you want to have your smart home. I think this black panel looks pretty cool, but the white panel just is more cohesive to my system that I have set up. Now each of these panels do have a camera built into the top so that you can have communication between the two or from your phone. And then you also have some light sensors, and it has a speaker and a microphone built in it too. So you get a lot by getting one panel, and you get this cool touch screen that you can add pictures to, and it can just display these different pictures. And then the last thing the panels do have is Alexa integration built in to the devices so that you can simply talk to Alexa in the hallway and turn on your different devices that you have connected. So those are the different products that you can get with the Brilliant ecosystem. Now upstairs I set up the 2-switch panel in a hallway and a main living area where I have the hallway lights connected, and I have a fan connected, and I'm going to show you how Brilliant has actually helped with the fan integration that I have there. So now let's talk about how this works with different smart home devices. So no matter which one of these Brilliant devices you do get, you pair them into the Brilliant app and you can control them from there. But if you want to integrate these into a system that you already have, Brilliant is compatible with the Google Assistant, the Amazon Assistant, or Apple HomeKit. So if you have these connected to a light, you can integrate those into whatever platform you're using and control those lights with the assistant that you already have, which is really cool that it has that integration. So if I talk to my Google Assistant speaker over here to turn on the lights, it can then turn on the hallway lights or whatever you have connected your panel or smart dimmer or plug to. Now, the other type of integration is integrating devices you already have into the Brilliant ecosystem. So they have worked and partnered with different companies to be able to have those devices compatible. One example is if you have a Ring video doorbell, when somebody rings the doorbell, you can have that pop up on here. If you have the Nest doorbell wired, there is now integration with Google Nest devices where that can pop up here as well, or you can view your Nest or Ring cameras in this system, which is really cool. And then it works with all kinds of different partners that can integrate into the Brilliant system. So instead of using your Google Assistant, you can just use the panel to control these other devices. So let's look at some of the supported devices. So if I select add devices, this would work with August, Butterfly, MX, Ecobee, Genie, Google Nest, Honeywell, Kwikset, Lifex, Philips Hue, Ring, Salto, Schlage, SmartThings, Somfy, Sonos, TP-Link, and Wemo. So right now, those are all the products that are supported that this can control. So it's really cool. I set this up, I could instantly control my Sonos speaker because it found it on the network. And then I also have my SmartThings. Everything I do now is pretty much integrated into SmartThings. So I linked it up to here, and then I have control of all of my SmartThings devices right from this panel. So on the home screen, I can create different scenes where here I can tap a button and it will turn off all the lights that I've pre-programmed to set up and work with my SmartThings, or I can turn on the lights. And it's then going to give me the option to turn on the different lights that I have in this room. And so you can create different rooms, and you can do so much with this system. So hopefully that helps you understand a little bit about how this system works. And now let me show you how you can use this in your home and get these set up. So here in the one switch panel model, we have the installation guide and also a little guide about how to correctly install the wires. Here is the panel, so I'll talk more about these features. There you can see the back that just snaps on. And then here we have the part that you will install into the wall. And then here we do have some pigtails that we can use, as well as quite a few wire nuts. And here is the 2-panel configuration. And on the side, you can easily tap to turn on or off, or swipe up or down to adjust the brightness of the panel. Here it talks about how you should make sure there's no extra wiring coming out, so clip the ends. And then here you can see the wiring, very simple. I like how everything is labeled and colored as well. Again, plenty of pigtails and wire nuts for installation. Now the first thing to do is to turn off the power and then remove your existing switch. When you pull this out, make sure you take a picture for reference if you need to put it back. Then I'm going to double check with a voltage tester to make sure that the power is off and pull off the switch. Now here it talks about how to identify what type of switch you have. This is a single pole switch, meaning it is only connected to a light switch to turn on and off the lights. So I'm going to add the green on the ground, and then here I'm going to clip these so that there's no extra sticking out. And then I just have to stick them in the back in the load or line location. With a single pole, you can choose either. And then here I am capping off the neutral. You do need to have a neutral wire in your light switch to be able to use the Brilliant system. So it's pretty nice. You just place them in and then you tighten the screw to get them to be secure. Now that the wires are secured, we're going to screw the panel in and we're going to turn on the power to test the light. And without the faceplate, we do have the option here to press to turn on the light. That works. So now I'm just going to lock on the faceplate by pushing it down. And now we're ready to get this set up. Let's go ahead and install the 2-switch panel. And in here, it talks about using this with more than one switch. So on a 2-switch or a 3-way connection. So if you have 2 panels controlling a light, you can do that. You could also have 1 panel and then a non-dimming switch, but you cannot use this with a dimming switch, a panel, and then the light. And here are some more instructions if you are using 3-way switches. So just make sure this is compatible with your system before you try to install these. So here on the left, it's going to be on a 3-way switch. And then on the right, it's going to replace my fan switch that I have here. Now wiring on the 2-switch panel will be the same, except for with the 3-way switch, I'm going to remove this little sticker and put a traveler wire on that so that it then has proper connections. And this is where the pigtails and the wire nuts come in handy, just because it does get a little crowded. So you can easily attach the wire nut and then they're already cut to size to plug in the back of the panel. And here's what my wiring looks like for the 3-way switch. Now you'll notice there's only 1 ground to the panel, as well as there's only 1 neutral wire. And on the 3-way switch, we have the line and load and the traveler wire. And then on the left side here, we have the single pole, which just has the line and the load connected, and then is able to turn on and off the single pole light switch. Once we have screwed the panel back in the gang box, we can turn on the power and then test out the lights. So we have the hallway light working and the fan is working. And then we're going to snap on the faceplate. Next, we're going to download the Brilliant app available on the Google Play Store or the App Store. And if you did have any problems during setup, you can use the Brilliant app to help you get them installed correctly. Once ours is installed and we turn on the power, it's then going to look for Wi-Fi. So here we're going to connect it directly to Wi-Fi. Then I'm going to name my control. So we're just going to call this Kitchen Control. Next, we're going to create an account. So you're going to verify your email, and then you're going to join a home. Now that we've created our home, the other panel will actually automatically connect to this and you can set it up. So this panel is going to be in the kitchen. And here it's doing some checks. You can see that the light turned off there on the left. And now we're going to add a new room to add our lights into. So here we're going to add the hallway, and we're going to give the light a name. We're just going to call these hallway lights. Then it's going to ask you about the lights that you have set up. So here we have options to add standard light, low wattage light, do our lights dim and other options, and then we can test them out. Now, going through this process, you're going to do this with each of your different lights and get them set up. If it's not working properly, you can go back and change this at any time. Once those are set up, it's then going to walk you through how you can use the different gestures. Now, right now, my screen is actually looking a little green. Once I finished the setup, it changed to normal colors and I didn't see that again. So here on the 2-panel switch, I can swipe up to change the brightness, or I can simply tap to turn on and off. And then on the other one, since it doesn't have any dimming function, all I can do is tap to turn on and off the switch. Next, we're going to pair the lights to our different voice assistants. So you're just going to tap which one you want to use, and it will run you through the instructions on how to get it set up so it can be controlled by voice. Then it's asking if you want to be able to view the camera on here live. So I'm going to enable that. And now we're going to go through the process of adding other smart devices we have into the Brilliant control panel. I'm going to start with SmartThings. And here I'm going to select continue. And then it's what's going to do is send me an email. I'm going to go to my phone and authorize my account. And then I'm going to select the devices I want to add here into the Brilliant control panel. Then it's going to scan for those devices so that we can add them into our Brilliant home. Now, I did find that it does take some time for them to appear. So let's go ahead and go through and connect other accounts, and then we'll organize all the devices in our home. When the devices are ready, at the top of the home page, you'll see alerts. So here it says it found 11 SmartThings devices. I want these all to be in here, so I'm going to select all and then continue. And then it might ask you some further questions about some of the lights. And now it's asking me where I want to add each light. And here there are some preset rooms I can add them to. You can add more rooms if they're not available already. Once I have configured all of the devices, I'm then going to do this for all the different accounts that I have added into the Brilliant control panel. Now that we have it set up, let's go over using the device. So on the top, you do have the speaker. Here you have the PIR motion sensor, and then you have a temperature sensor built in as well. And then the camera, and if you want to, there is a shutter for the camera that you can close it. It would be nice if there was some indication showing it's closed, but that's how you open and close it. Here on your screen, you have the time. Down here, you have the weather for the current location, or the temperature for the thermostat. If you do tap on the temperature, it will take you right to your thermostat settings, which is really nice. And then here you have a microphone indicating if Alexa is listening to you or not. And there you can see it is listening to me. And then here on the background, you do have different pictures it's automatically going to go through. And then if I want to turn on the light in this room, I can simply swipe up or swipe down to turn it off. And if I want to turn on an entire room, I can use 2 fingers, swipe up, and it will turn on the room that this is in. So now if we tap the screen, it's going to show us the different scenes that we have right here. You can only have 4 scenes on this menu, but then down here you have the option to open up for more. So here we can open this up. We have all of our different scenes right there, and you can create new scenes. You can also use the Brilliant app on your phone to create these different scenes. Next, you have the option to turn on and off Alexa right there, so I can turn it off so it can't currently hear me. And this is how you can interact with Alexa. What's the weather like today?
In Orem, it's 67 degrees Fahrenheit with mostly cloudy skies. Today, you can look for intermittent clouds with a high of 95 degrees and a low of 67 degrees.
What's on my calendar?
Here are the next 4 events. On Monday, July 26th, at 10 a.m. there's Analytics Deep Dive. At 12 p.m. there's Water the Plants.
Turn off the basement hallway. And then over here under Home, this is going to show your Brilliant home. So this isn't linking to any other service. It's the home that you've created within the Brilliant system. So here we have different rooms that I've set up. And if we go into a room, then I have the option to turn on and off the lights in that room or view cameras. So here, if I want to view the camera, this is actually in the wrong room. I just moved it, but now I can view the baby's room right here. And then at the top, I can tap and I can then go back to the rooms and select the room. So right here, we are in the basement hallway. So I can go to the basement hallway and I can then turn off this light, turn it back on, and you can see that this display is currently set up in here. And if I wanted to edit, so let's say I want to fix the family room here, I'm going to select edit, and then I go down here and I can move this by selecting the settings and change the room that it's in. We're going to add it to the baby's room. Oh, we only want it in one room. And then we can update the device. Okay, so now that camera has been removed from our family room. And there you can add more rooms and so on. And then here we have the option to add a device. Now I've already shown you how you can do this, but if you do add other devices to your home, you can go back here at any time and go through the process to add them. Next, we have the music options. So this will work with compatible devices. So right here, it's saying no sources are currently available. So it says, please use the Sonos app to add and configure. If I click on the music up here, you can see what is currently playing on my Sonos system. If I select play, it then is going to play. I have the music controls right here. So you can hear that increase or decrease. And then I can go to the previous song or next song, whatever, all right from Brilliant, which is pretty cool that I can control it right from here. You can add songs to your favorites here. So if I'm listening to something and I want to add it to my favorites, I just select the menu here and then I scroll down and select add song to my Sonos. And there you can see that it has added that song for easy access to different music right from the Brilliant display, which is really cool that it's already there and automatically works. And I don't think I really had to do much syncing or anything there with my Sonos system. Next here we have climate controls. So this will work with compatible devices. Mine is working with my Google Nest thermostat right now. And here I can simply change the temperature. So if I want to increase the temperature, I can do that, or decrease, I can turn on the fan, and then I can change the mode from off, cool, heat, heat, cool, or go to my Echo settings there. Now, next I have access. So this is access to different smart locks. So on the back door here, I do have a Schlage Encode, which is compatible. So I can simply unlock it just by pushing right here. And then I can also lock the door by tapping right here. And I really like how you can incorporate this into different scenes that you have. Next, we have the intercom. So this is really great if you have another Brilliant panel. So when I tap on here, I then have the option to broadcast something to my other displays, or have the option to call or video call my other display. So let's go ahead and broadcast dinner time. And I may not have held it down long enough, so then it broadcasts the message. Next we have kitchen, so I can call or I can simply video chat. It will ring the other end.
Yes, he's right here. Say hello.
You have to hold down the button to talk.
Can you open this now?
I can hear you.
There we go, now you got it. So I think that intercom system is really cool, something that I've always wanted to have in my home, and actually we had something like that growing up. So it's really cool that this has the new generation with video and all. Next we have alarms. So you can set an alarm on here. If you want to have an alarm here instead of like on your speaker, this would help you get up out of bed to disable. So let's go ahead and call this one test. So here you can set the time, then you can set what days of the week you want it to repeat. You can select all year or select dates. You can choose the volume and then select alarm. And the alarm has been set up. So then you just have to come up here and select dismiss alarm and the alarm goes away. Now the last section is cameras. If it's showing up in shortcuts, it's not going to show up at the bottom. So if I tap on the cameras, here I can view different compatible cameras. So here I have my backyard camera, which is my Ring floodlight cam, and it does take a couple seconds to load up, but down here I do have the option to change the volume so I can hear what's going on outside. And then I can also hold to talk on the Ring cameras and I can talk to whoever's outside. So here I have the camera. You can't change the view or anything, but you can hear what's going on outside. So then we have the other panel upstairs. Here we have my Nest Hub Max. So I can pop this in and view the Nest camera. And here I can listen into the kitchen to see how things are going up there. There we can see Claire checking out her pumpkin. Then I have some other compatible cameras here. The Ring video doorbell does work, and when somebody rings the doorbell, it will pop up on here. And then here I have my Nest doorbell wired. So here I can select live view. Now these are only the original Nest cameras and doorbell, not the new version that is available in the Google Home app. And then here it gives you an option to unlock compatible door locks, even if they're not compatible with the room. And then the same thing will happen with the Nest Hello. If somebody rings the doorbell, it will pop up here on screen. Now, if I go and edit the settings here, I can change some settings on the cameras, but with the doorbells, I do have the option to adjust the chime, so I can have it not play the chime, or I could have it play once, twice, or 3 times. And then for any of the devices, whether they're cameras or other devices, you do have the option to come in here and hide a device if you do not want to see certain devices on your control panel. Now let's look at the settings in the Brilliant app. So when you open the app here, it's giving you some of the same settings that you had over on the panel. So if we want to adjust our lights, it's then going to show us all our different rooms. We can easily turn off the lights for a whole room, or you can come down here and you can control the specific lights that are available in that room. Next, we have the option to control climate. So here with my Nest thermostat, I have those same options here. Next, I have music, so I can control my Sonos from here as well. And then here we have access, so I have my Schlage code where I can lock or unlock. And then down here we can view certain cameras and so on. So here I can view my different panels. So if we want to look in the kitchen, I can just select view. And sometimes this does take longer than I'd like, but there you can see that was actually pretty quick. And then I can listen in by selecting that option. And if I want to talk through there, I can hold to talk. Hey, how are you doing? Pretty loud, I could hear it all the way down here. And then I like this, how it gives me the option to adjust the lights right here. So if I want to adjust the kitchen lights, I can turn on the kitchen lights, and we go back and you can see all the lights turning on in the kitchen, and I can easily turn them off by touching there. And now you can see all those lights turn off, which is really neat. Then if we go back here at showing other devices, some are showing as not mobile supported. So that means you can't view them in the app. You can only view them on the actual Brilliant panel. So only the other panels are viewable from the app. And then we have other. So here it's showing in the family room, I have a Samsung TV from SmartThings that I can tap to turn on and off. And then here in the kitchen, I have a few more options as well that I can control. So then that is the devices that we have in the app. Next, if we want to add new scenes, we can select the star right here, and this is where we can create our different scenes. So here we can give a new scene name. Let's call this one Goodbye. And so here we can create different actions, we can copy existing ones, or we can add a partner scene. So if you have certain scenes set up in like Philips Hue, you can add those. So let's go ahead, add a new action. Then you can choose what room. So let's go basement hallway. And what's gonna happen? So we can tap on the devices, we can select turn off the basement hallway. We could set a specific brightness. And here with the control, we could have it only display certain images while I am leaving. So then we can add that action. And then down here, we can add more actions. So if we want different things to happen in other rooms, we can go through and create all those different actions. And then here, if we want to add a partner scene, we have LifeX and Philips Hue, where we could control different scenes. So when we come home or something happens, we want movie time to be a certain scene, you can set all of those there. And then here you can have it automatically happen. So you can set a time of day where it automatically happens at sunset or sunrise. And you can choose the days, time of year, and select save and so on. I'm not going to choose a time. I'm just going to select create scene. And then that scene is actually added into Alexa, so you can automatically adjust that scene by talking to the Alexa voice assistant. So here you can see our scenes, and I can simply tap on them and it will change the scenes. Then here we have home. So this is where you can view your home. So I can simply tap in here, view all the devices that I have in those different rooms. And then lastly, we have photos. So I can upload photos to my Brilliant display. So we can tap plus. I can go into my camera. I can go into a different photo source and add photos. So let's see, there's a new photo I want to add on here. We got a scary Claire. So we're gonna select done, add that photo. And so now we can select upload and it is complete. So it says you have 41 custom photos remaining that you can add. So then that's going to randomly show up here, and here you can go through and choose what photos you want to have show up on the display or unselect certain ones you don't want to have show up. So I think it's cool that you can customize that a little bit. And so that is pretty much all the settings that you have in the app. And here in the settings, you can go through and learn more about connecting to different devices. You can look at your different home and adjust devices that you have here. You can select works with to see what compatible devices there are. And you can also lock the app so others can't view it. Now, not all the settings can be adjusted from the app. So now we're going to go into the panel and adjust more settings. So first off, we have our quick shortcuts right here. So these can be scenes, or these can be quick access to cameras and certain other things. So right here I have a scene where all the lights turn off, or I can tap lights and then I can go in and turn on different lights. So one thing to note is you can still control the lights even though you're not on the screen there. So I can still swipe down and the lights will turn off and I can turn them back on. So if I want to adjust these, I can go into the settings, and then here I have home screen. So at the home screen, you can choose 4 different things. So let's remove my camera here. And now it's showing what type of shortcuts we have. So we can choose lights, we can choose music, climate, scene, intercom. So just all the buttons at the bottom, you can quickly access those. Or down here, you can choose different scenes. So if I want to choose my goodbye scene, I can then have it there, but I already have basement off. So let's go ahead, delete that. So let's go ahead and choose the intercom function. So now when I'm on the home screen, I can simply tap intercom to talk to upstairs. So now let's look at the other settings. So first off, you have your control settings. So that's the settings for this device. So this is where we can change the name of the device, we can choose its location, and so on. And when we select update, that will update its settings. Next, we can control the light settings for the panel. So here we have this one, which is called the basement light. We can reconfigure it. So here with these LEDs I am using, it does have a little bit of flickering, and I think that's more of just the style of LED. I could go through the reconfigure process to adjust it, but I don't really need to. Here we can choose the location, and then you can change the fade in or fade out rate. So you have options from immediately to half a second up to 15 seconds. We already did the home screen. Next we have the display. So here you can choose just the normal display brightness. You can increase or decrease. So you can see this whole time I've had it down a little bit lower, but you can turn that up. You have display options. So you can have display off unless there's motion or unless it's touched, which is actually really cool. And then you can also have the display on all the time, or you can set certain time periods when the display actually turns off. So at night, I don't want the display to be on, or you could have it on for a nightlight or whatever. So it's cool that you have those. Next, you have lock screen options. So here you can have the time on or off. You can change the time zone there. You then have the option to display the art or have it off, and you can manage your photos there. And then here you can have the music show up on there. I don't have a speaker in this room, so it's not going to do that. And then you can have it display the device status with the mic on or off. So maybe I don't want to have that on there. I can turn that off. And then you can also have the climate widget, which I currently do have on, and you can choose the weather there. So it's nice that you really have controls over all those things. So now if we go back to the home page, you can see it no longer shows the mic there. Now next we have gestures. So this is where this device gets really cool because you can customize this a lot more than other typical light switches. So here we have the single finger gesture, which is on, and that's turning on the lights. But if I wanted to, I could have that turn on any device that's compatible with my Brilliant system. So if I wanted to have it turn off a lamp or some other light, I could do that. So this is really cool. If I don't want it to turn off the basement hallway, I could have it turn off other lights. Now you can only have it turn off one light with the single finger gesture. So we're just gonna keep it here with the basement hallway. Next, you have the 2-finger gesture. So this is really cool. This allows you to turn off an entire room of devices. So if you have certain devices that you want in this room, it can then turn them all on or off. So I have 2 little hallways down here, and I have it turn off both of those and on in the 2-finger gesture, which is really cool. And then last here we have, if you are having issues with the touchscreen gestures, here's the tutorial. So like I showed you before, it works on the home screen or on that home page. Next, we have motion. So with the motion sensor in here, you can do quite a few things. So here we can have it turn on the display when motion is detected, and then you can have it automatically turn off the display after a certain amount of time. And that would take you back to the display settings if you wanted to adjust that. And then next we have the devices. So what devices is the motion sensor going to control? So right now it only has the basement hallway here, but I can go ahead and I can add other devices that I would want it to control as well. And then we can have it turn on the devices, and we can have it automatically turn off after motion has been detected. So at night, if I want it to automatically turn on a lamp, it could do that during the nighttime when it detects me, and then it would automatically turn on after this amount of time without me having to interact with the light switch or anything, which is actually really nice to have. And then here you have where you can apply these for all the time, or you could have it only during certain hours. So right here I have after 5 p.m. It's automatically going to turn on the light, and it's going to stop that automatic detection at 30 minutes after sunset. So I probably need to adjust those times a little bit for it to work more accurately. So here, let's set it to 7 p.m. and the start time would make sense to go at sunset. So there we go. It's automatically going to enable motion sensing at sunset, and it's going to turn off that sensing at 7 p.m. Then lastly, we do have some advanced motion settings. So in here, you can really adjust exactly how well the motion detection works. So here it's showing you how much detection it's seeing right now. So I'm kind of just right in front of it. You see a 94, and then I'm going to move so it can't see me anymore. And there you can see it drops down. It might be detecting my camera. So if I move back into the room, there you can see it automatically starts to adjust, so you can change the threshold right there. So those are the motion settings. I think it's really cool that that is all built in. Next, we have connectivity. So if we need to adjust the network that is connected to, we can do that, and we can ping Brilliant and reset the network settings if we need to. And here we can check for updates. The panel is currently all the way up to date. Here we have audio settings, so we can change the media volume if we want that's playing through here. So that would be for like the intercom, the voice assistant, doorbell notifications, and so on. And then here we have the alert volume for the incoming ring, voice assistants, and so on. So I like that you have media volume or alert volume. And then here we have Works with Brilliant. So we can go through and see how to connect all of our different devices. So if I want to connect this to Apple HomeKit, here it's going to run me through how to do that, and we can select Setup HomeKit. And so this is going to add my basement hall into HomeKit, not let me control HomeKit devices. And that would be the same with Amazon Assistant and Google Assistant as well. Then last here we have privacy. So when you create your account, you add a PIN code. So then here we have the option for remote video access. So we can choose what devices allow remote video access. So I've allowed for both of them. And then here we have configuration lock. So if we want to lock certain settings, we can do that so nobody can change that. And then child lock. I actually haven't had a problem with them messing with stuff, but we do have the option to turn that on as well. So this would then add a passcode so that you would need to type that in, and then settings can be adjusted. But we're going to keep that off. And then last, I do have the option to change my PIN code. I don't need to do that there. Now the last setting we have is under advanced settings. So here, this is really only if you're having issues. You can turn on remote assistant and you can reset all settings. And here we can go in and view home settings, change your home, maybe look at the account and learn a bit more about what the display can do. And lastly, you could reset this if you ever need to do that. Now with the dual panel, I really like these switches on the side because you can easily touch and hold and swipe up to adjust the brightness if that's supported, or you have the option to just simply touch to turn on and off, or you can disable a switch. So this is actually really handy if you have a fan or something that you don't want people to turn off, or maybe a lamp that has smart light switches. You can make it so people can't turn it off. So what I can have it do instead is, since I have a fan connected to this switch, I can make it so that when I touch here, it turns on the fan instead of turning off the power to the fan. So that makes it so I can still use my remote to turn the light on for the fan, but the fan will always be available and I can use Google to access it. So it allows me to give power to the devices and still have control over them through voice assistants, which is really nice. And so that is pretty much everything the Brilliant Smart Home system can do. We've been using this for a few months and it's really cool that it has so many features built into this. Now, some of the features in my home aren't as important, like the intercom feature I think is really cool, but our house size just isn't big enough to make that really useful. Some of the other things I love is the quick access to scenes and other things like the thermostat right on here that I can simply use without having to activate a voice assistant or anything like that. Now, my favorite thing about this is being able to quickly control the lights that it's connected to or a room of lights just by using 2 fingers. Like there's no other smart switch that can do that so easily without having to add a remote or other things to your device. Now, because I've already connected most of my other smart devices to SmartThings, this gives me so many more features that I have versus other smart switches that are currently available. And if you don't use SmartThings, you just use compatible devices and you will have lots of features available. I like how I can quickly turn on the entire room or turn off all of the lights in the house at once by creating a scene right here on the panel, and that just makes all of it worth it. So in conclusion, I think the Brilliant Smart Home panel is an awesome integration into my smart home. Now, the one complaint is definitely going to be the price, but if you are using this in your home where you have a bunch of different smart home products connected, I think this is definitely worth it because it gives you that smart home panel in your wall without having to cut out a hole and add wiring or anything. It's all integrated right there. And then if you have that full integration with compatible devices, that can really make this worth it because you have that quick control to instantly change all the lights in your home with the panel, or you can set those scenes where when you leave, you just touch it and it turns off everything without you having to use voice and all that other stuff that sometimes can be a little bit hard to do. So if you do have any further questions about the Brilliant control panel, please let me know in the comments below. And if you want to check one out, I'll leave a link in the description as well. And of course, you can always check out all my other smart light videos over here on the side so that you can learn all about the different products that are available now. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one.